Hey guys, it's Dimitri with Rubashka Streetwear. So you might notice that the audio sounds a little bit better, and the reason why is because I got a microphone from Amazon. It was like $100. It's the Movo WMX1, and it's like a clip-on mic, and then there's a receiver attached to the smartphone right now, which is really cool. So from now on, my videos are gonna have better audio, and then we'll move on from there. I'm probably still gonna make just a bunch of them still from my phone because I just directly upload them. I don't do a lot of editing. Even on my phone, I could do editing. There's a lot of things you could do, which is cool. But I just like to make quick videos and then upload them right away. But anyways, today I want to talk about something interesting, and that is the question of college. So a lot of people have asked me before throughout time. They're like, "Did you go to college? Do you recommend going to college?" When they're talking specifically about starting a brand or how running a brand, like, is college necessary for that? And I'll explain my perspective from it, from experience, and where I am today, like how they relate. So when I was growing up, I had it instilled in me that college was important. And, I was born in 1985. So, I was a kid for briefly in the 90s and then the early 2000s. Like, I kind of like had that in the back of my brain all the time. Like, oh, I have to go to college to, have a good job and be successful, this and that. Like, it was the course of life. And I never really understood why someone wouldn't go. Especially, it's weird because when I was growing up, I thought that, like, I put on a pedestal, like college is super important. And I kind of get that term from Gary Vaynerchuk. He says that a lot of people put college on a pedestal, and I think that's very true. I don't think that college makes you any smarter, any more special or sophisticated, whether you go or not. It Like, especially nowadays, it is way too overthought. Like, just because you go to college doesn't mean you're better than other people, right? There's a lot of people that are super successful and are billionaires that didn't go to college or dropped out. But I'll explain that a little bit later. But yeah, so I went to high school, and then immediately after high school, I went to Western Washington University. That is like 20 minutes from my office and my hometown. And I enrolled into the design program. So I did that, and I also had a minor in communications, which is funny because now I'm using actually both of my degrees. Obviously I'm communicating with you guys right now, and I learned a lot from school doing that. And I design like 99% of all the stuff in my store. Like, I'm the owner and the designer, because like I actually like to do designing, and that's something that I want to continue to keep doing in the brand. Or in the future, I will just be the creative director, I guess you could say, and there probably will be other designers as well helping along with it. But I went to college, and I graduated, I think, like, I don't even remember, like 3 years ago or something like that. It's been a while, actually. And when I graduated, it was weird. I wasn't really excited. I wasn't feeling like any different. And it's funny because when I was in school, the last year of college, it was kind of like I was finishing up some extra required credits that I needed. And I wasn't really too thrilled about it because I got basically my major done. I just needed like some extra requirements for school to finish and to finish up my minor. So it was funny because I was in class, and like the teacher would be, doing the lecture, and I would just be on my laptop, like designing pieces for the clothing brand, because earlier that year I actually developed and started the brand. And I really believe that a strong, like, because I went to college and I was in the design program, I had a very strong leaning towards the creative direction of my brand. Like that's where I got the idea. Like I remember I was on Instagram and I would see all these cool brands. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I really want to do that. And when I was in high school, actually, I, had that vision and idea of starting a brand, and I just didn't know how to do it. But when I got to college, I kind of could see how like design worked and stuff like that. And, social media was like really growing a lot. Well, it's been growing a lot this decade, but I was like, okay, this makes sense. This is like the avenue for it. And I have somewhat, decent design skills to do it. So why not do it? Right. So I started the brand. And then I graduated, but I wasn't really like super excited about that. I didn't even walk at the ceremony. I just started working and, in my day job and doing the brand. And I just kept doing that for a couple more years. And when I look back at it, here's my honest opinions about it. If you want to start a brand and you're really dedicated and you're like laser focused, you don't need to go to college, or a university to do it. Like you don't need to get a business degree. You don't need to get a design degree. You don't need all this stuff or marketing. You can literally learn all of that online. And if you are not coming from like a privileged place, like you don't have, wealthy parents to like pay for your college education or all that. Like my parents did, like they helped me a little bit, but I paid about 90% of my college education. I paid for it out of pocket. And, looking back at it, it kind of sucks because paying that was like, it's an investment, but if I knew what I knew now and I started like full on like earlier when I was like 18, like right after high school, and I used all that money I used for college to put into the brand, I would probably be in like a better spot right now. But like I said, during college, a lot of events kind of helped me formulate the brand. And, I met a lot of great people there, and I'm still friends with some of my classmates that are also designers. So there was a lot of influences in school that led me up to making the brand. But I feel like if I truly had that vision in high school and I didn't have this like college mindset, like I have to go, I think I would have been able to successfully implement the brand as well and be farther ahead. Because here's what it comes down to. So let's say that I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably, getting close to graduating high school, or you're thinking about going to college. If you take usually you're in college for 2 to 4 years on average. If you take that time, and life's precious and you don't have a lot of time. If you take that time and you take all the money that would go into college and you like really are disciplined and focused, you can really create a brand that's successful. You will be farther ahead, like doing that than pouring a lot of time and money into college. Because what sucks is we are like 1.4 something trillion dollars in student loan debt. It's like a really big problem. A lot of college students, they graduate with tons of debt. I graduated with debt, not like a ton, but I paid it off, and that was very difficult. And I wish I would have poured that money into the brand, especially during that time. But that's all hindsight. But there's a lot of college students, and let's say like you graduate and you have just tons of debt, and but you kind of found out what you want to do and you want to start a brand. That puts you in a very difficult position, to be honest. And when you kind of study debt and the way the system is set up, it kind of is like modern day slavery. I say that kind of loosely because you're literally forced to, go work and then pay that off every month. And, you come home, you're just exhausted. You have no time or money or energy left. Like the system's like designed like that, and college education right now, it's, every year it's been going up tuition. So, and the quality of education has been going down. Actually, people are not really getting that much out of college. Like honestly, Like if you're disciplined enough, you can literally learn everything that you want to learn about how to start a brand online. Like for instance, if you're watching YouTube right now, like my videos, you're probably learning a lot of stuff that you've never heard in school. And I talk about like other topics that are, not even related to like making a clothing brand, right? Like actual stuff that's useful for life that I've learned outside of school. Literally 90% of everything that goes around in my office and in my head and my brand and like building a business, I learned outside of college actually. I did learn a lot of like fundamentals of design and like, doing stuff on the computer, stuff like that, and networking and like design principles, all that stuff I learned in school. But honestly, I could have learned it outside of school. And even then, like I said, like 90% of all the stuff I know from this experience has been literally through reading books and like listening to audiobooks, watching YouTube videos, and like listening to like Gary Vaynerchuk. Like it's really like not super complicated. And that's why I like that phrase, like college is on a pedestal, because it's kind of funny. Like you spend a bunch of money, you go to school, and you get this education, but there's another guy that didn't do any of that. He was just diligent, worked hard, studied online. He's not in debt, and he probably knows more than you, which it's kind of funny. Like, I think it was Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, like the Apple founder and the Facebook founders, they like dropped out of college and became billionaires. And like those two people, like just as an example, like changed the world way more than any like than like a bunch of college graduates, you know what I mean? And at this point you might be thinking, oh, that sounds really cool. I'm gonna drop out of college. I'm gonna not go to college because I got this all together. Well, here is my advice to you, and this is like from experience. And I kind of mentioned this already in the video. If you cannot discipline yourself, and if you cannot overcome yourself, if you kind of ditch college and you think you're all that in a bag of chips and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna drop out and start a brand, you might find yourself in a difficult spot, because like the examples I mentioned, Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, those people, first of all, they're intelligent and they were super driven. So even though they dipped out of college, they had to use, their discipline, intelligence, and drive to get to where they are, right? Not a lot of people like have that. Some people like they need to be told what to do. They can't overcome themselves. They can't conquer themselves. Like even this morning, I woke up and I was like, I had to go to the gym. It was like 5 a.m. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it. But then like in my head, I'm like, no, I have to do it. Like I don't have a choice. Like, like no one's gonna kick me in the pants and make me go. I have to make myself go. Even like every morning when I come to office, I have to come here and I have to work. Like no one's telling me what to do. And if I don't force myself to do it, then nothing's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be making income to pay for my bills and to expand the business, and then the business will shut down, right? That's why some people, well, actually a majority of people, they go to college, they graduate with some debt, they get a job that they like, and they work for someone else, and that's totally fine. And those people love to do that, and I have absolutely nothing bad to say about that. If you go to college and you get a job that you really like and you're living your life, what's wrong with that, right? If you have no problems with that, then that's good for you. You found the dream, right? If you go the entrepreneurial route, it's a lot of headaches. It's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of hard work and time and sacrifice. But with all of that comes great rewards. And honestly, the more that you discipline yourself and the more that you teach yourself, like self-learning, it honestly just feels so good. Like every day when I'm pursuing that and like conquering myself and growing the business and the brand and learning, because I self-educate myself like probably a solid 6 hours a day. I listen to YouTube and I read books while I'm working. It's honestly very rewarding, and also that knowledge gets passed through the business and it actually is useful both in my personal life and in daily life. And that's kind of the thing too. One kind of beef I have with college is that they kind of teach, especially more recently, like as society's progressing or regressing, whichever way you want to look at it. There's just a lot of fluff and crap that they teach in school that's not necessary for anything. I talk to people that are in college right now and they just say like what they're learning, and I'm just like, what is the point of that? Like, you're not going to use that. That's not like valuable to like 99% of the population. Like, I remember like I had to take, general university credits, and, there's pros and cons to that. I remember I had to take like some math classes and stuff. I literally, I don't use any of that crap in the real world. You know what I mean? I learned like more relevant stuff online by myself and reading books, like actual stuff that you need to know. In college and in high school as well, they don't really teach you like applicable life skills. They don't talk about finances, which is extremely important. And if you don't got that one down and you're trying to run a brand, you're gonna just have a nightmare, because you do need money and capital to be flowing through the business. You do need to make profit to, pay yourself and pay your bills and your business. Like, if you don't understand any of that, it's not going to work out. That's just the truth. That's how all businesses operate. And, sometimes I think they don't really teach that in school because they don't want people to pursue entrepreneurship. They don't really like encourage it. School is to make you like a worker bee. And like I said, if you love your job and that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. But it's not geared towards entrepreneurship and towards business. And, there might be some legitimate reasons for that. But honestly, it would be good for like high schools and colleges to at least give you a good rundown on finances and how to budget and all that stuff. And honestly, it kind of sucks because a lot of people learn the hard way through that. And especially right now during this whole pandemic, a lot of people were not in good positions. Like for instance, and I'm talking about like people that can be in a good position, but they weren't responsible and they neglected their life and finances, and then the pandemic hit and it was just like, oh shoot, like this is a shock, right? And even in my life and my own business, I'm always just like trying to be like, okay, how can I avoid X from happening? How can I avoid this problem, right? And I've been taking notes and learning a lot from this pandemic as well. But yeah, so I guess if I had to tell you the biggest piece of advice and like the whole point of the video is, if like you don't have to go to college, if you know for sure, like in your heart, that you can conquer yourself and you can wake up every day and learn and save money, and during all this stuff, like while you're building a brand, you're also going to your day job, right? Because you need to have income, and which is cool too, because like you're actually earning money so you're non-college, and then you graduate high school, you're earning money at your day job, and you're paying your bills, and you have money set aside in savings, right, for the future and for growing your brand. Someone in college at the same time is actually losing money because they're not fully working. Well, there are some people that do full-time college and full-time work, but that's just extremely difficult. But if you like put in like 8 or more hours a day on a day job versus going to college and not putting 8 hours in, and you are also paying for tuition, like it's really expensive. A lot of people are like 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 grand in debt when they leave college or more. So like on this side, you are in a better position to succeed. But like I said, you need to be disciplined and, conquer yourself. And learn every single day. If you can't do that, then college might be a better option for you, because through college you can still get a decent education depending where you go and depending what your major is. So you kind of honestly have to sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself and figure out, do I pursue making a business and entrepreneurship, or do I want to work at a streetwear brand actually? Because obviously there's clothing brands and other things that you like, other brands that you like, that need talented people. And if you're that person, then do that. Don't fool yourself. Don't be like, oh, I don't really care about education, and I don't really care about being disciplined, so I'm gonna go and be an entrepreneur. You're gonna crash and burn, or you're gonna have a very difficult time getting the ball rolling, right? So this isn't a video against college or for college. It's simply giving my perspective from my experience and telling you guys, make the right decision for your life. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys.